The apple doesn't fall far
Hey
from
everyone, it's a dose of Dr.
And
Drew.
here we are, and my cohorts are already mingling amongst themselves there, gentlemen. Tyrus, of course, here with me every Wednesday. Follow Tyrus at Planet Tyrus. He's even seen to it that the airport has given him a space today to communicate with us. Where are you, Tyrus?
I'm in MCO, and I am mask ready, but I'm in Orlando. I was visiting my kids, so I'm getting ready to come home, and I could not miss this show after all I set it up. So I could not miss this show. I was going to have Lou Ferrigno sit in for me, but I thought he would overshadow. He wasn't available. He had to work out, so which I get because he's Lou Ferrigno. But,
if you doubt,
that's your last call, brother.
That's right. If you doubt that he's in the airport, this is not just for effect.
That's how much. Now, most people will say this is really unprofessional, but it's the last flight going out. So there's again, hit the mute. But
that's all right. We're not professional.
This is an important episode. Well, for one, anytime I can get a chance to catch up with the boys. See, wrestlers, although we all have other lives now, we go years without talking, but when we're together, we're like old women at a bridge club. We just start talking about whatever. You just literally pick off where you left off at the last locker room.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it works. So I knew I was in great hands reaching out to Matt and Dan, who have been able to they have very successful entertainment careers, and then they're having successful political careers. And that's the whole point of this episode, is to convince Dr. Drew that he can do this. And actually, he definitely needs to do this. And their stories are incredible. They'll share that with us today, and they'll give you some advice. And hopefully your better half will
come along
unleash
for the
the dog, so to speak.
Yeah, she'll come along for the ride. So introduce your friends here.
All right, well, actually, I'll let them introduce themselves. I don't know. Let's go with the Blueprint first before we go to the big deal. They both have amazing nicknames.
So Blueprint, Matt Morgan, at BP Matt Morgan. Matt is mayor of Longwood, Florida. Correct, Matt?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Tell us more.
Congratulations.
Real quick, how it all started real quick. I retired, believe it or not, from I was going back to WWE in the year 2014. My son Jackson was born January 7th, 2014, and I legit called WWE, who I was going back to work for, and let them know that I wasn't going to be coming back. I very unexpectedly had the switch go off my head, holding my son in the delivery room, that I'm done. No more 5 days a week on the road, every week of every month of every year, no more. Did it for 13 years. Very proud of it. But it was time to be a dad. And then my son, 2.5 years later, was diagnosed as nonverbal autistic. And that's when you start to really pull back that curtain more and more and more to see who does what around here in the environment my son's going to be growing up in. Well, that's not really a novel idea. It's not original. It's every parent's real goal, right? Yeah. So you start to talk to your neighbors, your other residents in the city. And long story short, they're like, you'd be perfect for this. Look at you. Nobody's going to be able to sway your decisions one way or the other, except for, and the honesty that comes from the reason why I wanted to get into it from day one, which is I want to be able to use the vehicle that I did have previously as a American gladiator, and as a former professional wrestler, and be able to put a floodlight, not just a flashlight, but like a floodlight on important topics that people really want and need help with. I mean, I'm now running for county commissioner here in Seminole County, which is the next step up from what I'm currently doing as a Longwood mayor, this August 18th Republican primary. But the biggest thing I'm probably most proud of is being able to be a part of our county opioid council. I myself am 14-year recovered opioid addict, functioning addict. And, it's just this door, Dr. Drew, that I'm hoping you're going to open and enter one day, because you'd be perfect for it for a litany of reasons. But again, it's about using, in my opinion, different things that God has blessed me with to be able to help others, as cliche as that may sound.
Oh, no, that's what gives meaning. That's what makes people happy, is to do things that are meaningful by helping others. It's called eudaimonia. That's what Aristotle called it. Dan Rodimer, your story.
Well, very similar to Matt's. Was a pro wrestler got hurt in a match actually against John Cena, hurt my neck, and didn't know what to do next. So I went to law school. After law school, I moved out to Las Vegas, had 5 kids. And
were you practicing law at that point, or?
No, I came out and I ended up getting into a few different industries. We own a restaurant right here in town. Mm-hmm. But the way I actually got into politics was when we were in Boca Raton. My daughter was, during the Parkland shooting, my daughter watched it live on I guess it was Snapchat Live. Mm-hmm. And it hit us really, really close to home because, we watch it on Fox News and she was seeing it live. And so my wife said, we need to be an advocate for this. And so I went out, I wrote a school safety bill. And then from there, they asked me to be on the school safety advisory board and then the faith and community outreach and all these other, great positions, to help out the community. I wasn't planning on running for Congress. I was planning on actually just running for state assembly. And then sure enough, the opening was there. We had a moderate Republican. Actually, he was very, very liberal. And that's how I got in. And I've been always very, very passionate about education, having 5 kids and Sarah being pregnant with number 6. I was worried about their future. And right now we're ranked, we're one of the lowest in the country for education.
Your particular district in Nevada?
Nevada as a whole. I mean, we're ranked number 40.
That's hard to imagine to be, given how crappy our country's educational system is. That's
something.
It means something. There's a lot of room for improvement.
A lot of room for improvement. And, I'm a big school choice guy. I don't care if you're black, white, red, green, male, female, rich or poor. I believe every child deserves a right to a good education. And that's what happened with me. I was failing out my freshman year in high school, public high school. I was a really good athlete, but I was, I learned differently. And my parents, my father was a police officer. My mother worked for the Hilton. They took all their retirement, all their 401k, and sent me to an all boys prep school. And because of that great education, it got me into a great university. Because of that great university, it got me into a great law school. I wouldn't be sitting here right now in front of everybody running for United States Congress if it wasn't for my parents and their choice to send me to a good school. And I think that, every child, deserves that opportunity. And that's what I'm going to fight for here.
Matt, was there just a complete crap show in your town before you hit the office? Because here's what's motivating me is I look around California and Los Angeles, and it's just an S show. I can't believe it, and it makes me feel like I have to do something. I can't believe what's happening, and I feel like I got to do it. It's like I feel like I'm watching a bunch of people drown in the river. I'm like, I got to go in. I got to go in the river. I just have to.
Yeah.
Was it anything like that for you?
A little bit, and it was more. To be fair, once residents heard that I was thinking about running, to be the mayor here in Longwood, I started getting Post-it notes on my front door, index cards in my mailbox, which I'm pretty sure is illegal, of them trying to gas me up to do it. And it was one of those deals where, look, it wasn't necessarily a S show, as you said. Mm-hmm. It was more about what I'm taking on in my next step here in the running for county commissioner right now on August 18th, mm-hmm. is that there's an incumbent that I feel has been there for way too damn long, that's way too damn comfortable, that's cruising in neutral, feet kicked up on a desk somewhere, collecting a check, when you're just like, I already know because I grew up, with you, Dr. Joe. I know exactly how you are for the most part. You're a doer, you're not a talker. And if you're a doer, this is you'll love this job. It won't even be a job. It'll be a passion that you eat, sleep, and drink. It will not feel like work. It really won't.
Wow.
It really will not.
Unless
because you're changing people's lives.
But you're getting stuff done. Corny. I mean, I worry about being in an encumbrance where you want to do a bunch of stuff and you have a city council or you have a governor, you have a whatever. It makes it impossible to actually do anything.
So the rub here for
excuses.
you, Doc. So Tyrus, real quick, what you're talking about with Dr. Drew here, the rub for him is going to be this: where is he most beneficial? Right? Is he most beneficial coming in on Fox and on shows like this, where he's hitting millions across the country with, thank God for your point of view and helping us and get another voice out there to so many masses, versus your responsibility you feel in your own hometown? That's a hell of a conundrum you're in.
Yeah, that's right. That's the conundrum I'm in. Tyrus, go ahead.
But I feel like you've done all that you need to do and more as far as entertainment goes. I feel it's time to.
He says I'm washed up, guys. That's the bottom line.
Over the hill.
I'm not. Listen.
I didn't have John Cena tweet
You're
my
not.
neck.
I'm not washed up, but I'm saying if you were a horse, I would walk you out to the woods right now. I don't know if the gun's loaded. I'm definitely walking you out in the woods. We're just gonna check the woods out. We're just gonna. I thought I saw a hayfield, but in terms of accomplishments, I don't really see what you have left to accomplish. It's literally like telling Babe Ruth, hey, one more year. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no reason at this point for you. I think you have literally crossed every T, dotted every I in entertainment. And I think you could do some real good with all that vast experience, all those connections. And the fact that I did an interview with you on my show, Nuff Said, where you were to the point where you were became very emotional about your anger with how the homeless are being treated in California and the situations that's going on there, and the fact that you were literally going to kick down the White House door to get something going. Yeah. That tuning into that once a week is great for everyone to see that, and everyone be like, yeah, hey, I wonder what's going on there. But that passion in legislator to get things done, to be able to look through people and these officials who are not doing their job is going to turn some heads. People are going to hate you in politics because you're not going to be there to get recognized. You're not going to be there to get a payday. You're going to be there to make change. And you have the tools to do it. You're not just an entertainer. You're also a doctor. You're a learned doctor.
Well, that's the part that motivates me. You got to understand that I'm looking at, and Matt, you'll appreciate this. I'm looking at 60 to 80,000 people that I drive by every day in the streets of Los Angeles with mental illnesses that I have treated for 40 years, 35 years, and the predominant diagnosis, addiction. And people are leaving these people out on the streets. By the way, tomorrow we're going to do a show with a guy that was homeless, is now a director of nursing in a psychiatric residential hospital. We're going to talk about how people the reality of going from homeless to being able to function in the world. There he is, Anthony Brown. And just put back up there, Susan, for a second. Look at that picture of him on the bench. That's him holding the usual homeless, sign. Please, God bless you. I need food. Blah blah blah. That's all BS. He was strung out, and now he's going to talk about how you get back. He's a director of nursing. So anyway, the point is, I'm looking at this, and it's like being a lifeguard or a fireman or something, and there's a fire. You're like, I know how to take care of that. I got to go do that. Matt, to your point about the opioid council, how's it going down there with we're seeing everything pop back up in the COVID lockdown. What are you guys seeing?
So one of the things that's impressive as hell here in Seminole County with Sheriff Dennis Lima, and Governor Ron DeSantis and his wife, the First Lady of Florida, Casey DeSantis, seriously, they're so big on the opioid crisis here that this is super impressive. We have what's called an OPOD initiative. What that is, Dr. Drew, if you've been put in jail for a year or less for any kind of opioid infraction, especially you suffer from addiction, they will put you in this OPOD, and they split the men up and the women up into this place, and they get treatment, they get help, they get psychiatric help.
Is it part of the penitentiary, or is it a separate facility?
It's a separate facility. Yeah. And it's so damn impressive. I went to go talk to them a couple of times, and these are real addicts that legit know they have a problem. They really want to get help. They're not working the system. Right. They legit want to get this help, and they can get court ordered by the judge, or like I said, a year or less sentence time. And not the dealers that are dealing opioids with fentanyl, obviously, no. But the actual, someone like me who, let's say if I got in trouble and got arrested for too many pills or whatever have you, something like that. And they get them the help. So they're not going through the whole process again. They get out into the street, rinse and repeat, back on addiction, come right back to jail again. They're not doing that. This is actually helping replenish them, bring them back out into society, and make them a contributing member. The best part, Dr. Drew, the taxpayers do not pay for it. This is all done on funding from Advent Health and I believe Walmart's the other. Seriously, it's impressive as hell, man.
It is impressive. I don't know if you were treated formally or not, but if you were,
yes.
you know the treatment works. All you got to do.
Definitely. You got to work it, but yes.
You got to work it. That's exactly right. And that's the hard part, of course. That's the magic ingredient that, how do you get somebody motivated to get better? But in my world, if it's a really skilled team, we can get them there. We can kind of get them there. I just want to comment on the chat. I'm watching the chat stream go by, guys. I appreciate you guys being here. What about Congressman from Texas refusing to wear a mask after just testing positive? Let's be clear, Flora Mae Bunny, who's that's her handle. That is I don't know if that's the story. I don't know if that's real, but if that is real, that is not okay. Let's be everyone. I don't think anybody would disagree with me saying that is not okay. All right, and then Dan, as you think about working in Congress, what does it frustrate you to think about being one vote? Do you feel like you can make coalitions? Do you feel like? And who knows what I can't tell what the election is going to be in November. I have no idea. I know lots of people that are either refusing to talk to pollsters or are literally lying to pollsters, and I mean lots of them. So I can't tell what's going to go here. Does that seem frustrating to you, or do you feel like you've got enough to go in there and really make things happen?
Well, we actually just got our polls back, and I haven't shared it with anybody, to be honest with you. The president and I are both within the margin of error. So this race is tied up. The president's only down a few points in Nevada, and this is a seat that he won in 2016 by 1.5 points. So, it comes down to, if I win CD3, then the president wins. If the president wins CD3, then we win Nevada. And, we haven't seen this in 10 years, a race being so close. And folks are coming out. Folks are frustrated.
Well, let me go back. Let's go back to the schools. Are you going to meet a headwind on school choice? Is there a teachers union blocking that there, or what's going on?
We've been pushing it for a while. School choice is right now. I mean, the schools are trying to continue to stay shut down. But the private schools, you can go back to school for 5 days. Right. And it's not fair for the lower income families to not be able to send their kids back to school.
Oh, hey, Dan, listen to what this is California for you. To me, this is California in a nutshell. I live in Pasadena. In the South Pasadena School District, they understand there are people that need to work and they have no place to put their kids. So your kids cannot go to school, but they will be allowed to sit in a child up to age 15, I think.
Daycare.
Into a daycare classroom with 15 other kids working on computers. So you can sit in a classroom with 15 kids, but you can't go to school unless you're working on the computer.
Because they're paying for it.
That's California. Boom. What's that?
It doesn't make any sense.
That's California. That's California. I look at that.
Nevada, they were trying to implement a plan where it was 2 days in school and 3 days off, what's the difference if you go to school for 5 days? I mean, if you have COVID, or if that's what they're worried about, then you could go to school for 5 days, not just 2. And
it's very weird.
Got to get our kids back to school. We need to, the teachers unions are, they're making it difficult.
Is that the problem where you guys are?
Yes. I mean, it comes down to the governor being the largest problem.
Oh,
but
interesting.
We need to. If we don't get our kids back to school, they're going to be so far behind. And then why is it that the kids that go to private school, they get to continue to move forward?
Let me vocalize again my concern for the kids, which is that 20% of the kids that are being homeschooled are getting lost. They're not showing up. This is Los Angeles anyway. I'm aware of the data here. The efficacy of what's going on online is clearly not up to par. The parents are telling us this. The kids are telling us this. The American Academy of Pediatrics has said in no uncertain terms kids need to go back to school from a socio-emotional developmental standpoint, cognitive developmental standpoint for sure, that the CDC says kids need to go back to school. And now we need to do it safely. Everyone agrees with that. No one disagrees that it should be done impulsively. but it needs to move towards that and not be moving towards a year of home treatment, of home schooling. Hey, Tyrus, are your kids staying home or are they going to school?
No, my kids were literally building their own school in the backyard to get away from me because I rule with an iron fist. As a former teacher, of course, in my classroom, we solve all our issues with push-ups. So your 6-year-old goes outside the line with her A's and lowercase A's. We do push-ups. Like, okay, well, obviously, you're not figuring it out. So you're going to have to work for a living. So if you're going to have to work for a living, digging ditches or working construction, you're going to need strong arms and a strong back. So hit the ground, let's go. And it's amazing how penmanship picks up.
A nurse friend used to hand her daughter a broom whenever she resisted homework. Here, you got to get used to this.
Yeah. and then they'll be like, but I just can't do it. And I'll be like, that's okay, sweetheart. The world needs ditch diggers too. So go outside and let's dig a trench.
Do you have an opinion about going back to school? And let me, before you answer it, JH on the chat stream here said, this is a really important question. If there are major outbreaks in schools, how do we plan on reacting? To me, that's the big risk, is that if there's any outbreak, there will be pandemonium. And rather than we have a planned attack to this, when there is the inevitable little outbreaks here and there will be some sort of, it'll become political like everything else. So what do you say, Tyrus?
First of all, it's definitely, I think it's a parent's choice when it comes to education. But I do think, based on the stuff from the CDC, that kids should be going back to school in a controlled setting. And honestly, I think we should mirror what Major League Baseball is doing with the bubble with kids in school. When there is an outbreak, when there is you shut down that particular classroom, you don't shut down the school. You limit as much contact as they have with other classes. So like when I went to school, we had first period, second period, you don't have those. Those kids are in the same classroom. Where maybe the teachers are the ones who are changing. The math teacher comes in, or the science. You can protect a little bit more in terms of you don't have mass exodus in the hallway and coming into cross contamination. So maybe the situation is where the kids are in one group. They're with that group all day. There's no switching out.
Yeah.
Recess, everything's monitored. Like I said, you
like
put
lower
everybody
school.
like a little bubble. You put everybody in basically a little bubble.
Yep.
If one of those bubbles gets it, then you deal with that bubble.
Right. Makes sense.
I think that would be the adult thing to do, the smart thing to do. And me as an educator, that's what I would do, because I would have more confidence in a teacher maintaining social distancing and washing the hands and wearing a mask than I would counting on a group of first graders. Yeah. Or in some cases, I don't see much difference between first graders and 10th graders. I can literally tell you that in my own house, there's no difference. It's the same mess, one's bigger, and actually the older one's lives are worse. So, I don't trust them anymore to do things or to wear masks or whatever, because kids all watch Marvel and superheroes and believe they're invincible, or think, actually, the more I think about it, kids and really old people have the same mindset. Not me. I'm not, like that COVID mindset where it's not going to be them. So if we take control as the adults in the room, with education, we should be able to deal with it as it comes. But I think that's how I would tackle it. And my kids have been participating. My daughter went to cheerleading practice. My son's playing baseball. My other daughter's in soccer. They're all outdoor activities. They're in the sun, social distancing as much as you can, taking precautions when we get home. We're sterilizing everything. So we're staying on top of it.
God
and at
bless
the same
you.
time, you got to we know sharks are in the water. We get it. We understand it. And we try to do our best. But I cannot keep my children locked up in a household for 6 months and I expect everything to be all right.
Dan, how should I decide if I were going to run for office, what to run for?
Oh, I think you should just go right for the top.
Go
That's what I said.
Come on.
Go big or go home.
Go big or go home. The
Tyrus,
fact is, Dr. people can relate to you. And that's what it comes down to. That's why, Matt is so good at being a mayor. I mean, he's doing a great job out there and he's moving his way up, and it's just because people can relate. They can relate to him. He gets up there, people listen, and, and he comes up with great ideas. And just like you're on, people know you. I mean, there's millions of people watching right now, I'm sure. And, you get out there, you're a leader, and I think you go right to the very top.
Alyssa says, I like to think Drew is center right. I'm definitely center. I have trouble telling whether I'm drifting right or left, frankly, because I can't, because the extremes now are
Well, you're
so
not
far
left,
apart.
that's for sure.
Right. The way left and the way right are like, no, thank you. So as I drift around in the center, I always thought I was liberal, but no, I don't know. I can't tell.
I don't know.
No, you're the common sense party. I believe I started.
Yes, common sense
Common
party,
Sense
man.
Party,
That's
yeah.
we want to establish a new party, gentlemen. The common sense party.
Common
If
sense
it wasn't
party. We just-
CSP, I would go for it. Unfortunately.
everything's case by case basis. We don't long term commit to anything. We just give us the
Yeah.
information, and we'll give you an educated opinion.
Yeah, George Clark says I'm a little L libertarian. I thought I was till I met Kat Timpf. And then I thought, oh, that's a libertarian. That's not me.
Can you just be a mixture of everything?
That Jessica says the pragmatism party. Yeah, I like I think the common sense party rings a little better. I like that.
Yeah, because
All right,
it's
Matt.
assuming that we're also punching our competition in the face, saying that since we're common sense, they're not.
That's right.
So it's a double-edged sword.
You're Matt. You've heard your wrestling colleagues' advice to me. You got anything more balanced, or anything else for me to think about?
What does it feel like, Dr. Drew, when you help? So you help so many, but let's just say stay on the opioid. Let's say stay on the addict.
Yeah,
subject.
it's
you help one addict out,
yeah,
and you see
it's
that payoff for you is huge.
It's
right?
yeah, I feel gratitude that I have some skill that can be used in that way, and it's renewing. That's sort of how I would describe it. And I almost binge on it sometimes. I get a workaholism around doing my work because at times it's so satisfying.
That's, I swear to you, you'll have your bad days, don't get me wrong, but like, let's say it's city level, or let's say it's county level, let's say it is Congress, let's say it is the presidency, even. It's that payoff that when somebody comes up to you that you've affected and you've made their life better through policy. It's the best high. It's
right.
It's an incredible high.
I get that. I've had a fascination with our federal government, mostly its history and philosophy. And so when I think about really dedicating time to this, I always think like, man, it would be cool just to, walk those halls and be a part of it. And Dan, I imagine that kind of appeals to you too, as you think about getting in there in the congressional buildings.
It does. I mean, coming up there and, I'll give you an example of, when I came in, Leader Kevin McCarthy sat me down. He said, people relate to you. And, I was at all these guys, Tyrus and Matt, they were actually great wrestlers. I wasn't as good as them. So, I kind of had the gift of gab. So that's what I used to kind of make up. Vince McMahon used to say, go out there and do a 2-minute promo in an 8-minute match. And I go out and do an 8-minute promo in a 2-minute match. So, I knew what I was good at and I knew what I wasn't good at. And it's kind of like, going out there, getting people excited, riling them up and getting people, like this right here, having Matt on here, another, I don't like to say politician, but I like to say patriot. You just get out there and Dr. Drew, I'm telling you, you'd be great at it. You'd be great at it. There's one thing that I always do, and it always ends up very, very, it doesn't really matter what I say, but at the end of every speech, I pull out the old folding chair. And I say, and I will take a folding chair right to the establishment.
That's good. I like that. I don't have that kind of heritage. I don't have a wrestling.
Well, you can bring out
heritage.
a stethoscope. You can bring out the America's stethoscope.
And the rubber gloves.
You can listen to America's heart.
There you go. That's a good line, Tyrus.
I'm listening to America's heart. Wow, Tyrus, you should just think of slogans all day.
In the wrestling, I was known for the improv. I would pull something out of my ass in a second. So very good at talking on the fly.
So
One
Jason,
of our best speakers of all time. He's being very humble, but that's why he's in the position he's in today.
It's one of the reasons I fell in love with doing the Greg Gutfeld show. I've known Greg forever. I used to do the Red Eye. But when I got involved, when I saw Tyrus sitting there, I'm like, oh my God, I want to be a part of this.
He's the whole show. I'm sorry. I love Greg Gutfield's show. He's one of my favorite shows. Tyrus is the whole show, though.
I can tell you for sure it would not be as successul without him sitting there. I guarantee you.
Okay.
And by the way, let's talk about him like he's not here. And by the way, it would not be as, and I mean this with peace and love, it would not be as digestible, as palatable. You know what I mean? Because Tyrus just comes up with like zingers and truth, and there's a lot of partisanship in there, and Tyrus just speaks from the pragmatic party, from the common sense party point of view.
He cuts right through it.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm gonna expose it so Matt and Dan don't tell on me. All I'm doing is locker room talk. That's all it is. That's all it is. I literally, Glenn Kane, Glenn Jacobs, Art Anderson, anytime they would get in the locker room and start running their mouths, they would start kicking knowledge, and literally we'd sit around and we would just talk all the time. And sometimes I was maybe a little more hungover than everybody else, so I had to come up with something quick because I didn't always pay attention to the meeting. So, but it's something about being in the locker room that you're starting to see, and I feel like since I'll pat myself in the back, I feel like I'm being stolen now. Now you got Kendrick Perkins doing stuff on TV. Like, everyone's looking for a big guy with a smart mouth now. Like, they're coming just a scout short, but they literally everywhere you look, you'll see, like, all of a sudden there's a big guy on the TV screen, and their only mistake is about taking wrestlers. I'm telling you, man, I knew when I needed smart advice with Charisma for Dr. Drew, I knew exactly who to go to.
Well, I'll tell you what,
these guys, they're not full. That's the thing about it, is they're not. The reason why wrestling works, reason why wrestlers work, is, yes, it's simulated combat, or if you want to be a dick about it, but you have to make it real to the people who watch it. Everything you do is real.
Yeah.
Everything hurts. Everything's passionate, and you see that in Matt. Matt's work ethic that he used to get where he was in the WWE, to continue to work, because just being a wrestler in itself is a miserable existence. It's tough, but he was able to use his skill set, and then he turned it and channeled into real people and real things. It becomes very successful. When you hear him talk, you don't sit there and go, oh wow, this guy was in the ring. You're like, wow, this guy's been in politics for years and ages. He's got so much wisdom, and he's so passionate. He's a father who's making changes for his children, which then affects other children. You don't think about the fact that this guy literally called himself a blueprint, which one normally has to see when you're building a house. This guy was it. He literally had a giant, and his muscles were everywhere, and he was mean to people. He actually kicked me in the face the last time I actually saw him in person. I'm over it. It's all good. But that's not the guy that you see now. You would never, if you didn't know him, you would just assume that he's always been in politics. And same thing with Dan, except you would have a sneaking suspicion that Dan probably sold a used car to in his day. But other than that, the two of them, but I'm saying.
So you know what? Why don't we stop there? Dr. Drew, I really think I should tell you the story of how Tyrus had to move in with me once.
Dude, tell.
Entirely different show.
No, I think it's appropriate right now.
I'm
that up.
So we promised
Tyrus would tutor me. Tyrus would tutor me all the time.
I was forced.
He was diehard. He used to watch film. He knew every match across the board. But one day, Tyrus hurt his ankle real bad, and he couldn't do the stairs. He lived upstairs in the condo.
It was my knee. Thank you.
So I said, Tyrus, come on in, move in with me. Now, I just bought a brand new couch, and I said, Tyrus, you can move in. You can stay on this couch. Sure enough, Tyrus did. And he studied
for like 2 months.
And the day he left, I remember to this day, that couch looked like that.
Aw.
So you still owe me a couch.
Hold on. Yeah, you still owe me a BlackBerry from your dog eating my BlackBerry. So I had to tutor Dan, because Dan and I were part of it. And Matt will appreciate this, because Matt was also, I'll say this magic word, you were the fast track guys. We were fast track guys. We had to get ready. And I was punished. Me, Dan, and Swagger, Jake Hager, were put in this group. And if one of us messed up, we all were punished.
Wow.
You want to guess who the guy was who was always like, hey, guys, don't worry about it. It was Dan. We went to our first Raw. Hey, Matt, we went to our first Raw, and this is the error. you had to come up in this crap. It was different once we got in there, where like all the old guys were kind of jerks to the new guys in the locker room, and there was all these like fake rules, and you can't, don't sit in the seat. Like, I'm a foot and a half taller than you. Why can't I sit in the seat with more legs? Whatever. Okay. So this guy walks in, and we're being quiet and humble, just not trying to be noticed, right? Undertaker's standing around, for a dead guy who's mean to everybody, he wears eyeliner and he has an Oklahoma accent. So let's just keep it real. But I pick on him all the time now. I don't have to be nice.
You didn't wear eyeliner, Tyrus? No eyeliner.
No, I didn't have to.
Okay.
No, gross man. And Dan walks into the thing, and he went out for lunch, and he comes back in, and he's like, to the whole room, all the veterans, "Hey guys, what's going on? Guess what? I was across the street. I just bought a Humvee. What do you guys think? Pretty cool, right? I just bought a Humvee, right? Awesome, right?" Big show, Taker, and all of them were sitting there with their mouth open. He's like, "What? You guys don't like Humvees? You don't like Humvees? You gotta see it. Come on, it's parked out front. Let me show it to you." I wanted to die. I literally tried to. Yeah.
This is right after Tyrus said to me, "Dan, your back hurts? Why don't you go get a massage right here at Raw? They actually have massage therapists."
I did do that.
And you did not.
I remember that.
Oh, he did. He did.
Dang.
After his massage,
Dr.
he brought a
Drew,
Humvee.
Dr. Drew, there's a phrase in our industry called heat. This is called Magnum.
Yeah, heat. Yeah, I get that.
Dan's nickname was almost the heater. Like, he was walking heat. But
I love it.
But here's the thing.
They never got to him.
I'm not surprised though. Having hung out in gyms a lot of my life, people get a lot of grief for being gym rat. But I noticed that the younger guys that were way into it, I'd come back 10 years later, and suddenly those guys are still working out every day, but now they're orthopedic surgeons, they're lawyers. There's something about the discipline of that kind of weightlifting that somebody who's, I don't know if it's that you're able to do that or that you have done that or both, that starts to translate in all kinds of career success. You guys seen that?
One thing.
Hold on.
He's turning it off. Go ahead, Matt.
It's one of those deals where you get to see your progress every single day in the gym, right? So it creates that work ethic that if I bust my ass, that does more than the next person, good things are going to happen. That's what you then apply in real life. Yeah.
And Dan, you agree with me?
And it rolls, right into politics. It's the same thing, the competitive nature that we came out with. We worked hard, and it's the same thing in politics. I was up this morning at 5 a.m., on a Zoom call with DC. And then, on the phones, talking to folks, talking to voters, listening to issues, and then going out and speaking at an event.
Was 5 o'clock your workout time back in the day?
5 o'clock was
back in the day. Yeah, we used to get up early because we had to train before
with Congressman Diggs.
Yeah.
But because it's 8 o'clock
in the
over
East.
there.
Yeah.
But you have to get out there, and it's working hard, and and that's how you get that momentum.
I was listening to a guy who interviewed a whole bunch of billionaires, and he said he was trying to find the common features, and he said he couldn't find anything in common except they all got up at 4:30 or 5 in the morning.
Well, here's the thing real quick. Another thing is you have to work your ass off in wrestling. The difference is it's not like the NFL where you're improving and you get better and you're doing those things and you're going to get more playing time. You're still working your ass off, and then some guy with a pen decides what you're going to do that night. So you don't have even when you're not getting the rewards of the effort, you have to continue to work hard anyways for when you do get that call. So it's a little different in terms of how you mentally have to prepare yourself. Yeah. This is why I say wrestlers are always mentally tougher than everybody else, because we are getting beat up waiting for that opportunity. And in some cases, we literally can be the best guy in the room and you still being the guy that walks out and loses in 2 seconds. Like, we've seen that a million times in the locker room. The guy's like trains best, eats right, is on top of everything. It's not a public problem at all, but the writer just doesn't like him or whatever the case may be. And that's where wrestling's different.
Wow.
Another thing that is good about wrestlers in politics, take Matt, for example, there will never be a scandalous picture of Matt because Matt regularly posts pictures of himself flexing in his underwear on Instagram. Like, he's nonstop. This guy, I know I've had several DMs like, "Hey, bruh, like, what's going on?" He puts little happy faces over him, but he'll be like literally challenge people to lose weight, and I'm like, they've got no chance of being the blueprint.
Evidently, my wife has dropped in on that too. I could just tell from the laugh.
Yeah, he's not afraid to get in his underwear to let you know how hard he's been working out.
I'll be watching his Instagram.
Yes.
So let me decode that for the public watching.
Yes, please,
What Tyrus meant to say was
Yes.
his 7-foot buddy over here, once he's retired from wrestling, got into politics, kicking names at that, but physically needs that goal to go after.
He could go tomorrow. He could get the call tomorrow and show up. And
so I do classic men's physique competition twice a year as well. So
yes, he does.
Oh.
He does. He does. I still power lift. I'm still throwing them. I refuse to go. And you got to have hobbies, especially nowadays with everything that's going on. And I find just in the wrestling world, it's my fish tanks. It's my powerlifting and
Your kids.
convincing Dr. Drew. You know what? Kids, are they really a hobby?
Oh,
no, legally,
hobby,
passion.
Passion.
Legally, I have to take care of them.
I wasn't thinking about how.
When they're 27.
I just think things you're engaged with, that you enjoy.
I mean, I'm stuck with them. I mean, they look just like me, so it's just. I love them, but do I need them? You know what I'm saying? They're not as, they're not as talented as I thought they were. People lie to me. People always telling me how great their kids are, and then I see mine make mistakes, and I'm like, I don't understand why you're not like such kids. They're posting pictures on Instagram of them doing great all the time until I realized, they're just liars. So I like my kids, but they do motivate me. But they're wow. I don't know about hobbies, man. I don't know. They ask the same questions every day, Dr. Drew. It never stops. The answer, I got 3 8-year-olds. Well, one turned 9, but and it never stops. The questions never ever stop. And then I went back for more with a 6-year-old. So,
Let me go. I'm going to the chat right now. Jason Brown says, start in California, you'll be eaten by the left based on your opinion of addiction treatment and behavioral accountability of homeless. Jason, I have faced that at length, and the way I address it is say, have you treated? How many of these people you treated? How many have you treated? Oh, 0? Shut the hell up. And if you have something to say, you're a murderer. You're killing my patients. You're murdering them. You're allowing them to die in the streets. Good for you. Well done. That's been my approach.
Dr. Drew would have been a good heel. I think he would have been a good heel manager.
Tyrus and Dan, there was no shine spot there, no hope spot. He just went straight to the boot to the mush. Thanks for coming, Dan, in the chat room.
Classic Matt Morgan right there. Swing and a miss. Look out for the boot.
We need a chair.
All right, you guys. Well, listen, appreciate talking to you. I'm going to let the intervention team go and keep Tyrus for a minute and just pick his brain about something. But Dan, thank you for stopping by. Good luck in the congressional run and whatever I can do to help you out. Please let me know. Matt Morgan, my wife will be on your Instagram on a regular basis. And thank you for the inspiration.
Well, I have to follow you now, because you've been on the show.
I'm sure I'll be seeing. Oh, you have to.
Well, you're following him too, so
yes,
we're all following
to follow you, Matt.
Make sure you guys plug yourselves and don't you?
And where do you want
just
people?
boot out.
All right, Matt, where do you want people to go to support you or find out more?
Go to Matt Morgan for County Commission on Facebook. You can contribute to my campaign that way. I have an upcoming Republican primary this August 18th. So those of you who live in Seminole County watching this, I know you watch Dr. Drew, please come out and vote for your boy here, as well as those in Vegas watching Big Dan. This is the guy for the job out in Vegas, sincerely.
Dan, where should they go for you?
You go to www.danrodimer.com, and we're raising a lot of money, and we need a lot more. So please go on there.
And Rodimer is Rodimer, and Matt Morgan, just like it sounds. So, gentlemen, thank you so much. Talk to you soon.
Dr. Drew,
hey,
Tyrus,
fellas, really appreciate
thank you.
Guys.
Cheers, man.
No, thank you guys for being class act and not letting me down.
Yes, thank you for that. Thank you for supporting Tyrus. And Tyrus,
that was fun.
Yeah, I got to talk to Tyrus now.
Thank you.
So let's get these guys on their way.
I know the frame's gonna.
There we go. Blink, blink.
Look at that.
All right, so you're going home, but your kids are going. Are you gonna be alone for a while at home?
Please don't jinx this, Dr. Drew. Don't mess this up for me.
Okay.
I'm planning to be. Actually, I'm getting home tonight, and I gotta get my tank up and running. So I'm excited that no one's going to be in the house, so I can actually work and not worry about being bothered while I'm redoing filters and stuff, which is very complicated.
so
yeah, I'm going to be alone.
Oh, that's good. So you
I'm
got
excited.
a big project ahead.
Yes.
Yeah, and you're still doing Gutfeld, right?
Yep. Yep.
And
I'll be there Saturday night, and I'll be the daily briefing Friday and Tyrus and Tim Friday. So yep.
Has there been any movement towards bringing you guys back to New York? The green room, as you said?
I haven't heard. I haven't heard anything, and quite honestly, I don't see a need for it until we're able to have an audience. It just doesn't seem to make a difference to me.
Got it.
Although I'm all for with trying to get things opened up, I also think we need to think about what's essential, what's necessary, and I don't think having me travel every week or 45 TV correspondents for TV shows travel with essential travelers having to travel and stuff like that right now is probably what is probably not needed at this particular one. In terms of traveling every week, you're just setting yourself up. While we're seeing the numbers we're starting to see a little bit of dips, but the numbers are high where we're still seeing 10,000 cases and stuff like that. I think we should still do the minimum as far as traveling, so the people who really need to travel will have more options and less bodies to deal with.
Yeah, I'm looking at the data, and there's a lot of plateauing. This recent outbreak seems to be settling. The death rate is still kind of climbing, but let me look at Florida. You're in Louisiana right now, right? Or you're Florida going to Louisiana?
I'm in Florida,
rather. Yeah.
Flying to Florida. Like I said, I made plans. I haven't seen my children in going on 4 months, waiting, and I had made plans, and then there was an uptick, and I just made a conscious decision to take all the precautions that I can, and so I could see my kids for a couple of days, because it's just a long time not to see your kids. So
for sure. Yeah, Florida's actually not just plateaued, it's actually turned downward. Both the hospitalization and the new cases. Of course, the death rate probably will just lag behind a couple of weeks, but those numbers look really good in Florida right now. Of course, the media's not reporting that, are they? Huh, shocking.
No, they're also not reporting the fact that I think I honestly can say I was in 2 cities. So I had to do some pickups. I had to drive from Orlando to Tampa to get my daughter, and my son's in Orlando, and coming back, and we stayed in an Airbnb with a pool, and closed everything off, and only did like drop off deliveries and stuff. It was a ghost town. Everywhere I went, people had masks on. And it seemed like everyone was only out when they really needed to be out. So I don't know if Florida's getting any credit for everyone kind of doing their part.
That's usually what happens. When people get a little scared because they see it coming, and we adjust our behavior, and then the thing calms down. I mean, learn from that, everybody. And all you got to do is really wear the mask. I'm looking at Louisiana. They're plateaued out, too, at a lower level than Florida, but it's looking pretty good there. Are you taking zinc, my friend? Are you taking zinc?
I think it's part of my normal vitamin regimen.
You might want to add about 50 milligrams, particularly with the travel. And there's something called quercetin, Quercetin, that helps.
You're going to have to text this to me, Doc.
I will.
I will do it. Yeah,
because everyone that's traveling around, I kind of think that it might be a good idea to be on that combination, the quercetin and the zinc.
Indeed.
Southwest is doing a really good job of keeping the flights to a minimum. They keep the middle seat open. So I was really impressed with, because I flew American and they didn't do those things. And Southwest has been really on top of it. The 2 flights that I'm on, they literally they could be taking every ticket, every dollar, and they're not. They're spreading it out. And I really commend Southwest for that. So,
what's that, Susan?
That's nice.
Yeah, it is.
What about how much quercetin, Drew?
500 milligrams. I'm just sending him that note right now. I'm texting it to him. There you go. That's your combo now.
And 50 zinc.
Yeah. You need to, I'm not saying, hey, I'm a doctor, take this. I'm saying I've looked at the data and I'm taking it. It's kind of like everyone kind of has to make their own decision at this point. While we were talking, a new article came out in the New England Journal of Medicine about azithromycin and hydroxychloroquine, again, without zinc. So let's be clear. Any hydroxychloroquine studies without zinc are not studying the treatment. But it's interesting. This will go down as another study that categorically you shouldn't be using hydroxychloroquine. Let me read you the conclusion on this. I loved it because no one will tell you this. Okay, although our estimates suggest no major difference between the groups with respect to primary outcome, the trial cannot rule out either a substantial benefit or a substantial harm. So the study proves exactly nothing. So
The jury's out.
There it is. There's the newest New England Journal of Medicine study, published this minute. How many patients? I can't quite get 43 patients total, and they were really rather advanced. Oh no, I'm sorry, that may not be the right number. It's rather advanced disease, by the way, and this is not what this is meant for. This is not what this is meant for. It's meant for early. 229 standard care, 220, so 400 patients. So there you go. Interesting. The data continues to kind of roll along, and talk to your doctor about whatever it is you think. Dr. Zlenko's out of the hospital, I believe. I saw some Twitter posts from him. He looked pretty good. And I'm looking.
Actually, you know what? I do have a COVID question for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was the huge uproar. I think it was about 24 hours ago, maybe, with the possibility of Russia coming out with a vaccine of some sort.
Oh, I didn't hear about this.
There was they called it a Sputnik moment.
Oh, Jesus.
But immediately, the media started tearing them apart, saying that there's no way that they could have it at this point. They had no test subjects. They have no verification of anything. So even before you could even just see what they have to
Read
offer
about
or
it,
what
yeah.
they're talking about it, the media had pretty much shut it down as a Russian hoax, apparently.
Wow.
As I was flipping through the channels doing my research for the week, that had come up. But
it's
they
fantastic.
said they're going to release it this week.
Well, here's
I
what
think
they
he
don't
said 48
have.
hours.
They don't have the encumbrances that we do. They can go much quicker.
Yeah.
But because they go much quicker, they might leave some gaps in the process of the study. So it doesn't surprise me that they would come out with something. But as anxious as I am to get the Moderna vaccine or the AstraZeneca vaccine, or even there was another one, I would be circumspect about this one. I really got to see that data before and see what they're doing and how it looks. Lloyd asked, why is there so much pushback on hydroxychloroquine zinc? Because medical treatment has now become a political issue, which is disgusting. That should never happen. Medical treatment should be left to medical providers, period. Anybody else should not have an opinion. That's it, period. You agree, Tyrus?
Yeah, 100%. Let the doctors talk about it. I think the president's biggest mistake is trying to have conversations about this with all due respect. It's not like he's known for really getting into subjects and figuring all out. He tends to kind of go with his gut on things.
Right.
And when it comes, this is why to become a doctor, you have to go through so much schooling and so much interning, and it's extremely difficult. And most that try fail because it takes a certain kind of person, a higher level of a different kind of intelligence to be a doctor. You have to analyze everything. You have to rule out. There's a lot of the factors, and you're a scientist of the human body. So I think those are the individuals, the only people that are qualified to be talking or discussing or even arguing about any medication during a pandemic should be the doctors. And I think that was a huge mistake getting involved in that, because you just can't win that argument. So and you shouldn't have it.
Joseph, yes, it was the Pfizer vaccine I was thinking of. And then Kimberly, what about the FDA report? FDA just pulled their emergency approval because the data isn't there to substantiate that. FDA does not determine how doctors practice medicine, period. No. There's tons of medicines that either were never approved by the FDA, or we use them routinely for verapamil is a blood pressure medicine. We use it for migraines. All kinds of medicines we use for things that are not FDA approved all the time. All the time. The FDA gives us a legal frame for which the drug companies can distribute the drug. How the doctors use it is up to us and our relationship with our patient, period. That's that. So anyway. All right, Tyrus, I'm going to let you go get about your business. I appreciate the intervention today. It was Susan did it.
I don't know if that helped or hurt.
Susan's not going to be watching Matt's Instagram, so she's off the grid. She's not going to be a problem anymore. Well done, Tyrus.
I like your friends.
Yeah, they're
they did make
Matt
me feel better about it.
Matt is extremely passionate about his particular fight. And I think because whenever something hits home, it's always that much more powerful. And hearing him talk as a father who said, "I'm going to roll up my sleeves and attack this and get involved," is a really great message to people. So,
Yeah.
Maybe that's inspired some people, not just you, Dr. Drew. Maybe someone listening today.
Yeah,
Like, you know what?
it is.
Do something about it.
And it's kind of cool to see those guys go from such, what seems like a very diverse life experience, something very different than, than politics, and then to succeed in politics. I think that's very interesting. All right,
transition's
my friend.
Tough.
Appreciate everything. You're as always good to talk to you, man. I enjoy the hobby when you get home.
I like your glasses too.
Susan loves these glasses.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
They're
my Dr. Drews.
They're very Dan Levy, actually. They're very metrosexual.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
right,
there
buddy.
you go. You lost me. All right. Take care.
All right, man. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye, buddy.
Bye.
All right.
He's like, out of here.
You all seem not to understand what the FDA does. The FDA is about what gets to come to market, what's deemed safe, and what the effective parameters are for the drug companies, not for what doctors do. If we use something off-label and something bad happens, we're not as legally protected as we would be within an FDA approval framework. But the approval, we don't even think about it very much when we're practicing, frankly. It doesn't really enter our thought process. Okay. 40 years of science says otherwise. Arthur, I'm not quite sure what you're talking about there. Please clarify. I'll be happy to address. Cloth masks, Arthur, they're not worthless. They're just not much. They're not very good. You're absolutely right about that.
Really?
Yeah.
Those little paper ones you get?
No, just a straight like bandana.
Oh.
Like I was going to tell Tyrus.
Double ply.
You have to double ply it. That's exactly right. So let's see what else you guys have here. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to look.
What do you think about defunding police?
I don't even know what that means anymore. I think in Los Angeles we've taken and defunded and put funds over somewhere else, but I don't know how that's going to work. There is not a society in the history of humanity that has not had some sort of a police force, even if you are setting something up. Look at the CHOP thing. They immediately had a police force in Seattle. As soon as they set up, they put a boundary on it, they put a wall around it, and then they had a security force. That's how humans work. That's always been the way it's been.
We have a show on Thursday, tomorrow.
Tomorrow we're going to talk to Anthony Brown, who himself was a homeless guy. Show me that picture of him on the bench with him now. Anthony was strung out, homeless, and now he's a director of nursing at a facility that treats homelessness. And we're going to get his point of view. And that was him 20 years ago on his right, our left, and that's his book, From Park Bench to Park Avenue.
It's at 12 noon. I think I put the wrong time on there.
It's at 12 tomorrow.
Yes.
Well, I had other things scheduled at 12. So I see. You're going to use Caleb tomorrow for this one?
No, I don't.
He's here tomorrow.
Well,
for a meeting.
Anthony could do it tomorrow.
Okay, we'll do it at noon tomorrow. So it's going to be a different time tomorrow, and we'll do it again on Friday, Susan. Is that true?
12 p.m.
on Friday?
Pacific.
On Thursday and Friday.
Friday, we're not doing anything.
Okay.
Unless, I don't know. I've got an appointment all day.
Okay, fair enough.
Unless you can engineer and do everything yourself. So.
I could, but
no,
you just show me a button to push. And I can.
That's not how it works. I wish it was.
So I'm not heading for the exit yet. I'm trying to. So I'm not the drunk uncle just now. I'm just trying to cruise through We are hoping to distribute this show out to other countries now very soon, which will be very fun. We'll have people from.
And then we have a Patreon coming up. Did you see the email that Caleb sent? I haven't opened it.
I didn't get it, but Patreon will happen. We will have Patreon. We will have Patreon meetings, and I will take more individualized kinds of dialogues and interventions. So that's coming. And then this one may reach out to other parts of the world, which would be very cool, so we can get input from all over the place and see what other parts of the world are experiencing. I don't know about you guys, but the one thing I like about the 90 Day Fiance the other way and the Indian Matchmaker is seeing other countries, and you get very provincial here. Very colloquial if you're not careful. So, how's my mental health, Artemis? It's bad. It's okay. I'm still getting stuff done. The real sign that I was in trouble was I couldn't do anything. Now I seem to be able to do things again. And that's helping. Let's put it this way. I feel like I must be better because I'm doing stuff. Although I very much fall under the sway of the giving and withdrawing that's done by our government in terms of we're able to go out in the world, and then suddenly you're not. That is how to induce learned helplessness. I've talked about it here before, and it is a model for depression. We literally do that to mammals in the lab to study depression. Well, thank you leaders here in Los Angeles. You're doing it here in Los Angeles to all the citizens. So Senny K asks, why do I think patient 0 in Burbank did so bad with COVID? If Susan, do you have that tweet you put out about the patient 0 leaving the hospital? So the first case out here in Southern California was a guy I talked to last night named Greg, and he lost his fingers. He lost his fingers because they put him on a medication called Levofed, which is highly constrictive of peripheral arteries to raise blood pressure.
It's on your Twitter.
Perfuse the kidney and the heart, so you survive. And most people don't survive being put on Levofed, but he did. He lost his fingers as a result. The blood was cut off to the fingers. He did very poorly. He had pneumonia. He had MRSA. He had pulmonary embolus. He had cardiac. Everything possible went crazy with him. The reason he did so badly, in my humble opinion, well, we didn't know what we were doing back then, frankly. I mean, that's the headline. We didn't know how to treat this. And we also didn't understand that they can look like they're getting better with the infection and then induce the cytokine storm. So now we're changing the approaches and the timing to the use of steroids, the use of antivirals, and the attack we sort of attempt on the cytokine storm or cytokine activation syndrome, as it is called. So let's put it, say we didn't anticipate that, and we didn't know what it was when it was happening back then. So now we know, and we can have some interventions.
Go to Drew's Twitter to see the video.
See the interview we did with him.
Alex Michelson put all those up this week, and we have it on the Facebook page as well.
Could a kidney infection be treated with that antibiotic? That is a terrible idea. People used to die of those routinely, JH. And by the way, if you leave a kidney infection untreated, it can lead to kidney failure. So there's a terrible idea, and sepsis and shock and death, frankly. So be careful. Have I seen the Frontline Doctor video? You mean, Artemis, you mean the people in front of the Supreme Court yesterday? I have, and I've spoken. If you look at yesterday's stream, we're talking to a doctor about that, and she was actually involved with that group, so you can learn more about them in yesterday's podcast with Dr. Kelly Victory.
Somebody asked if teens should play football this fall.
I don't think so. I don't think that's going to happen. I think unless you have the resources of the NFL where you can test everybody every day and isolate everybody and this kind of stuff, I don't see where football is.
The younger kids don't really pass the virus, but I guess when they hit their teens, they do things more like adults.
Well, they also start to have the protein expressed on their respiratory
because of their hormones.
It's just they develop. Part of growing up is you change your biology, and one of those biological changes is the ACE2 receptor, which is how the coronavirus gets in, starts getting expressed on their nasal passages and respiratory tract. So they then, around 15, some of them become suddenly able to be infected by COVID. So it is a viable question to ask what we do with 15 to 18-year-olds and how we should treat them differently. And I haven't seen any recommendations from the CDC.
It'll be interesting to see how many kids stay in sports after this. Like sometimes, sports are sort of pushed because of the parents, but now that they're learning different ways of learning and they have different hobbies or sports or whatever that they can do, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
I'm not sure I get your point.
Well, like my daughter was a figure skater, but if you just stop figure skating, you can't really just pick it up and be at the level you were at. She may have become a pianist instead. Right. It'll be interesting.
Your point is actually rather profound and broader than that, which is this thing is like shaking the box, as Scott Adam would say, who we're going to get hopefully next week or so. And it is that everything has changed, and so it's hard to predict how we're going to navigate through life going forward. Like you said, you could have been a figure skater yesterday, and now suddenly you're going to become a violinist.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're going to...
Because you can play the violin.
Yeah, and so I believe that a lot of people will find creative and impactful ways to navigate their way through this. That's certainly what I'm trying to do.
Maybe we'll have more music.
Steve, as you said, great info on the cytokine storm. Yeah, that was with Dr. Yo a couple of days ago, where we talked about the treatments of the cytokine storm that are available or coming out. So thank you, Phil, and the Glasses Man for President. Please do look up the Midnight Gospel on Netflix. It's a cartoon with
Dr. Yo.
That's Dr. Yo right there.
Sorry.
Midnight, and
Had
then
the music on.
Midnight Gospel. And if you have something for that, Susan, me and
Wait, let me get the Dr. Yo.
that's Dr.
I
Yo
was-
Gendra.
I was
Dr.
falling
Yo.
asleep over here. I'm sorry, I didn't.
Thank you for the vote of confidence. And there is the Midnight Gospel, which is, please watch the first episode of that. We think you'll like it. It was pretty cool working with Duncan Trussell on that thing, and the guys from Mort and what's the cartoon everyone likes? Sorry.
I don't watch cartoon. Mort and
The cartoon. Oh, you guys got to help me, please.
you'll think of it.
Well, they're going to help me on the thread here. Is what's going to happen.
They don't like the thread first they like the thread when the guests are on, but they like it better without, and then I don't know what to do now.
What do you say? Rick and Morty. Thank you. There you go. Rick and Morty. I'm sorry, Susan. I didn't understand.
Not everybody likes to see their
Up on the screen.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. That's fair
I
enough.
just wanted the guys to see what was out
Thank
there.
you,
with the
George. Rick and
questions.
Morty. Correct.
Everybody's
correct.
been very nice today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it was an interesting little conversation. We appreciate you guys being here. We're going to kind of wrap this thing up.
Make sure you vote for them if you're in their district.
Yeah, or offer them some funds if you want to get behind them. They seem like good guys, and I trust Tyrus's referral of his friends. And we'll be in here tomorrow with Anthony Brown. And please join us again then. And until then, Susan, are we cool to wrap it up?
Yep.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow.